Did you know that managing your blood sugar does not mean you have to give up everything you enjoy eating? Most people think fixing high glucose means restriction, deprivation, and saying goodbye to every food that actually tastes good. But that is not how it works. The real secret is knowing which foods to add to your plate, foods that quietly work behind the scenes to keep your sugar stable all day long. I have worked with patients who are stuck at dangerously high numbers for years, and within weeks of adding specific foods to their meals, not removing anything, their glucose readings started falling. And the best part is they stayed down. Not for a week, not for a month, for years, without adding new medications. So in this video, I am going to walk you through 6 foods that directly support healthy blood sugar levels by working with your body's own chemistry. I am not going to just tell you to eat them. I am going to explain exactly what each one does inside you so you understand why it works and how to use it properly. Before we start, if you're tired of being handed a prescription without anyone explaining what is actually going on inside your body, hit subscribe, give this video a like, and drop a comment telling me your last fasting glucose number. I read every single one, and your numbers help me decide what to cover next. Now let me explain something that changes how you think about blood sugar entirely. When your blood sugar is high, the problem almost never starts with sugar itself. It starts with insulin. Insulin is the hormone your pancreas makes to unlock your cells so that glucose, the sugar floating in your blood, can move inside the cell and be used for energy. That is where it belongs. Inside the cell, not sitting in your bloodstream causing damage. But when your body has been dealing with high sugar and high insulin for years, your cells get tired of hearing the knock. Insulin shows up at the door, and the cell ignores it. That is insulin resistance. And once it sets in, your pancreas works harder and harder, pumping out more insulin, trying to force the door open. Your blood sugar climbs anyway because the cells are not listening. And the typical solution is a medication that either pushes more insulin into an already overloaded system or forces the sugar out through your kidneys. Nobody sits you down in a 15-minute office visit and explains that the food on your plate can talk directly to those insulin receptors and help them start working again. That is what these 6 foods do. Each one performs at least one of 3 jobs. It slows the speed at which sugar enters your bloodstream. It cools the chronic inflammation that makes your cells deaf to insulin. Or it directly supports the insulin receptor so your body does the job it was designed to do. You do not need to add all 6 tomorrow. Start with 1 or 2 this week and build from there. Let me show you the first one. The first food is raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. And this might be the fastest acting tool in this entire video. If you own a glucose meter, you can literally watch this one work after your next meal. The active compound is acetic acid. It does 2 things at the same time. First, it slows down gastric emptying, meaning the food in your stomach takes longer to break down and release sugar into your bloodstream. Instead of a tidal wave of glucose hitting your blood all at once, it trickles in gradually. Second, acetic acid helps your muscles pull glucose out of your blood and use it as fuel more efficiently. The research on this is remarkably strong. Studies have shown that just 1 tablespoon of vinegar taken before a carbohydrate-heavy meal can reduce the post-meal blood sugar spike by roughly 20 to 30% in people with insulin resistance. That is the kind of number you expect from a pharmaceutical, not something that costs $3 a bottle at the grocery store. Here is how to use it. Take 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar and dilute it in a full glass of water. Drink it 10 to 15 minutes before your biggest meal of the day, especially if that meal is bread, rice, pasta, or potatoes. Never drink it straight. The acid is harsh on your tooth enamel and your esophagus. Always dilute it. And if you're already on any blood sugar medication, talk to your doctor first because vinegar combined with medication can bring your sugar down faster than you expect, and your dose may need adjusting. Number 2 is eggs. Whole eggs with the yolk. And I need to undo some damage here because decades of bad advice scared people away from the yolk, and that fear pushed millions of people towards sugary cereals and toast-heavy breakfasts that are infinitely worse for blood sugar. A whole egg is almost entirely protein and healthy fat with virtually 0 carbohydrate. On its own, it barely moves your blood sugar at all. But the real power of eggs is something called the second meal effect. When you eat eggs in the morning, you do not just stabilize your breakfast glucose. You stabilize your blood sugar all the way through to lunch, and sometimes beyond. You walk into your next meal with calmer numbers, a smaller spike, and far less insulin demand. The protein and fat also keep you genuinely full. That mid-morning craving that drags you toward the vending machine or the break room snack table quietly disappears. In clinical practice, swapping a cereal or toast breakfast for 2 or 3 whole eggs is one of the single fastest ways to bring down a morning glucose reading. I have seen it over and over again. 2 to 3 whole eggs in the morning is a solid starting point for most people. Scramble them, hard-boil them ahead for the week, or make a quick omelet with some spinach and a pinch of that cinnamon we will talk about in a moment. This one change to your morning sets the tone for your entire day. Number 3 is fatty fish, specifically salmon and mackerel. And this one does not work the way the others do. It is not slowing your meal down. It is going after the deeper problem, the reason your cells stopped responding to insulin in the first place. Insulin resistance is fueled by chronic, low-grade inflammation. When your body has been quietly inflamed for years, that inflammation physically damages the surface of your cells and blocks the insulin signal from getting through. The insulin is knocking, but there is so much noise from the inflammation that the cell cannot hear it. Salmon and mackerel are loaded with 2 omega-3 fatty acids called EPA and DHA, and these are among the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory compounds that exist in food. They calm the inflammatory signals down, they improve the health of the cell membrane, and they allow the insulin receptor to start functioning the way it was built to function. Over years of practice, the patients who eat fatty fish consistently, at least twice a week, have noticeably calmer, more stable glucose numbers and better cardiovascular markers across the board. Aim for 2 servings a week, each about the size of your palm. Wild salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring all work beautifully. Bake it, grill it, or buy it canned. Canned sardines and canned mackerel are some of the most affordable and nutrient-dense foods in any grocery store. Do not let the packaging fool you. What is inside that tin is more powerful than most things in the supplement aisle. Number 4 is lentils. And this one proves the entire point of this video because lentils are a carbohydrate, and they will actually help lower your blood sugar. That sounds like a contradiction until you understand what is happening inside. Lentils are built differently from white rice or white bread. The carbohydrate inside a lentil is a slow-release form called resistant starch, and it is wrapped in layers of soluble fiber and plant protein. That structure means the glucose locked inside the lentil gets released into your bloodstream slowly and steadily over hours, not all at once. There is no spike. There is no crash. There is no desperate insulin surge. Lentils also carry that same second meal effect we talked about with eggs. A bowl of lentil soup at lunch gives you steadier blood sugar into the evening. In my clinical experience, swapping white rice or white potato for lentils a few times a week is one of the most reliable and consistent ways to bring down a hemoglobin A1C, which is your 3-month average blood sugar score. Half a cup to a full cup of cooked lentils a few times a week is all it takes. Use them in soups, stews, cold salads, or even as a side dish with a drizzle of olive oil and a splash of that apple cider vinegar from earlier. They are filling, they are incredibly cheap, and they stretch a meal further than almost anything else in your kitchen. Number 5 is cinnamon, and you almost certainly have it in your cupboard right now. But here is where most people go wrong. The kind of cinnamon matters, and the one sitting in most kitchens is the wrong type. The common grocery store cinnamon is usually cassia cinnamon, and while it has some benefit, it contains a compound called coumarin that can be hard on your liver when you take it in daily doses over time. The one you want is Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes labeled true cinnamon. It is lighter in color, milder in flavor, and far safer for everyday use. What makes cinnamon work is a group of polyphenol, natural plant compounds that behave almost like a helper to your insulin. They improve how tightly your insulin receptors grab onto glucose, and they slow gastric emptying after a meal. Research conducted through the USDA's Human Nutrition Program found that less than half a teaspoon of cinnamon a day meaningfully lowered fasting blood sugar in adults with type 2 diabetes. That is an extraordinary result from a spice. Use about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon each day. Stir it into your morning coffee, your oatmeal, a smoothie, or sprinkle it over those eggs from earlier. The key is to pair it with a meal that contains carbohydrates because that is exactly when you want your receptors gripping harder and your stomach slowing down. If you are skipping this one, you're leaving one of the easiest wins in blood sugar management sitting untouched in your spice rack. The 6th and final food is avocado. And most people have been avoiding this one because they think the fat and the calories make it unhealthy. That fear is costing them dearly. The fat inside an avocado is monounsaturated fat, the same family found in olive oil, and it is one of the most blood sugar supportive fats you can eat. Here is the mechanism. That healthy fat, combined with the fiber packed inside an avocado, dramatically slows down how fast your entire meal converts into blood sugar. When you add half an avocado to a plate of rice or a piece of toast, you are not removing the carbohydrate. You are putting a brake on it. The glucose rises gently and gradually instead of spiking hard and fast. Monounsaturated fat has also been shown in studies to directly improve insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells start answering that insulin knock a little faster and a little more reliably. On top of that, the fat and fiber keep you genuinely satisfied. You stop reaching for a snack an hour after eating, and that alone prevents the next blood sugar spike before it ever starts. Half an avocado a day is a sensible amount. Put it on your eggs in the morning, mash it onto whole grain toast, slice it into a salad, or add it alongside your lentils. Anywhere you have a carbohydrate on your plate, an avocado softens the blow. Now let me tell you about a woman I will call Patricia. She was 59 years old, still working full-time, and came in terrified because her fasting sugar had been sitting around 190 for months. Her doctor had just told her they needed to add a second medication, and she was watching herself head down the same road her father had gone down, the one that ended with kidney failure and dialysis 3 times a week. We did not take her food away. We added to it. Eggs and half an avocado replaced the cereal in the morning. A tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in water before her dinner. Lentils swapped in for white rice 3 nights a week. Salmon or canned mackerel twice a week. A quarter teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon in her coffee every morning. Within 10 days, her fasting numbers started dropping. Within 2 months, working alongside her own doctor, she came off that second medication entirely. Her A1C moved from solidly in the diabetic range back toward normal. And over a year later, it is still holding. She did not starve herself. She did not cut out entire food groups. She ate more, just the right things, and her own body did the rest. So let me tie all 6 of these together because this is the reason they work when simply cutting carbs alone often fails. Each one of these foods is handing your body its own tools back. The apple cider vinegar and the lentils slow the glucose down so your pancreas never has to panic. The fatty fish calms the inflammation that has been jamming the insulin signal for years. The cinnamon walks right up to the insulin receptor and helps it grip again. The eggs and avocado stabilize everything from the very first meal of the day, so you're never playing catch-up. Do that meal after meal, day after day, and the cells that stopped answering the door slowly start opening it on the first knock again. That is what supporting healthy glucose levels actually looks like at the cellular level. And once it happens, your body holds your sugar steady on its own, which is exactly why Patricia's number stayed low for over a year and counting. Before I give you your action plan, I need to draw one very important line. If you are currently on insulin or a sulfonylurea, which is one of the older blood sugar medications, these foods can bring your sugar down fast enough that your current dose may suddenly be too strong. That can push you into a dangerous low. So add these foods with your doctor watching your numbers, and let them adjust your medication as your body improves. Do not stop any prescription on your own. Bring this list to your next appointment, and let your doctor see what you're doing. Here is your plan starting tonight. Tomorrow morning, replace your cereal or toast with 2 to 3 whole eggs and half an avocado. That single swap changes your blood sugar trajectory for the entire day. Tonight, take 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar diluted in a full glass of water 15 minutes before your dinner. Pick up Ceylon cinnamon this week, not cassia, and start with a quarter teaspoon a day stir into your coffee or your morning meal. This week, swap white rice or white potato for lentils at least twice, and put fatty fish on the menu 2 nights. Stack these in over the next 2 weeks. You are not removing the foods you love. You are adding the foods that protect you. Now, everything we covered today helps your blood sugar during the day and after your meals. But a huge number of you have told me the same frustrating thing, that your highest reading of the entire day comes first thing in the morning before you have eaten a single bite. You fasted all night and your sugar went up anyway. There is a specific reason your liver does that while you sleep, and there is a way to address it. I made a video that explains exactly what is happening overnight and how to wake up to a lower number.